I'm Matt Fine along with you. A walk-off home run! Right down the pike, strike number 3. With 2 outs, everybody's running.
These guys are going deep into the count. That one to left field, deep, back, way back, and gone! Justin Johnson is the biggest steal threat so far this year with 6. And he takes a pitch and lines it down the left field line, and it's fair, going all the way to the corner. 1 run's going to come in, and we're 2 batters into this game, and we're all tied up at 1. Hardy has a chance to redeem himself with a runner at third and 2 away. Looking for some 2-out magic. But he's in the hole. No balls, 2 strikes, and another batter's hit. If we were playing Little League, by the way, Connolly would be out of this game. If we were 12U, we were 11U, when you hit 3 or 4 batters in 1 inning, Dad's got to come out of the dugout. About 6 acres in left center field. And that's exactly where he goes. This one is deep and off the wall, high off the wall in left field. 2 runs are going to score, and a 2 RBI stand-up double for the junior. The at-bat starts now on the 3-1 count. Runner going. That ball sky to left field. Deep, back, and gone! A 2-run moonshot for Richard Villa. When you hear an umpire's name, it's generally not a good thing, but I want to mention the umpire to the right, the man talking right now with his hands up. His name is Glenn Kahanowitz. I mention his name because his nephew is a gentleman, a high school senior named Jack Kahanowitz. And Jack is a 6'6" pitcher at Lower Merion Township, plays for Harriton High School. John, his fastball's about 95, his curveball's about 77. And not only is the rain coming down, but the temperature outside right now is dipped into the mid to upper 40s. I have 46 right now in front of me, it looks like. You can start to see a little bit of the breath coming out of the mouths of some of the players, including DeFiore on the mound. As that pitch hits Savage, so number 14 heads down to first base. 2 runners aboard, and here comes the coach. We haven't seen a meeting for the Bison in a long time. And that was a quick meeting. I have no idea what Heather said to him. But whatever it was quick. If Heather gets paid by the word, he's a poor man. He said, you got 1 more out, the rain's coming down, let's throw some strikes and get out of this one. But that pumped up the entire infield. The infield hadn't even gotten settled around DeFiore before Coach Heather was already halfway back to the dugout. The pitching for Navy has been a little hit and miss so far this season. When they played Bucknell the first weekend of their conference games in the Patriot League, the pitching had an 8.46 ERA against the Bison. But then against Lehigh last weekend, a 3.75 ERA, which is exactly what you want, even though they ran into some really strong pitching, Mason Black and company pitching for Lehigh. So they dropped 2 of 3, did Navy, but much better on the mound. Today, it's been a little iffy for the senior, as everybody's looking on in excitement in a 5-4 game as we move to the bottom of the 5th here. And we'll see numbers 5, 6, and 7. Mangini, Savage, Planeta. How can you not love dogs? Look at that shot. That's great stuff. In the tall grass, enjoying the first of 2 games here at K-Mine Stadium. The first one will play 7, so we're moving towards the latter innings of game number 1. We'll play 9 in game 2. Have that 30-minute break between games. Mangini 1 at bat so far today, as you might imagine. When I say it was in the 2nd inning, you're going to say, hey, he's probably hit by a pitch. And that is true. He did scored the first run of that 4-run inning for Lafayette, but they've had zeros up besides that all afternoon long. You take that 1 inning away. You can't take an inning away, of course. Every inning is important, but if you did take away that 1 inning where Lafayette sent 10 to the plate in the 2nd inning, Conley's been in control. He pitched to 4 batters in the 1st, then you had the 10 batters in the 2nd, 3 batters in the 3rd, and 5 batters in the 4th. So he's been pretty much in control except for that one inning where it really just came apart on him. As this ball is lifted to left center field on his horse, and a dive by the center fielders. Not going to come up with it. Samorian gave it all he had as he basically ran the better part of 30 yards to try to catch up to that ball. But when it's all said and done, a leadoff double for Dylan Mangini. And Lafayette with the tying run in scoring position. Put a charge into that one. Samorian thinking, I might as well go for it, even if it gets by me. Palicelli was there, and he scooped it up. So that's either going to be an out or a double, and that's exactly what it was when the ball hit the ground. So Mangini now at second base, and an opportunity for Lafayette to see if they can tie this ball game up. But before we do that, we have a meeting on the mound as Bobby Applegate comes out to talk with his senior hurler. Still have that lefty up in the bullpen, and we do have ourselves a pitching change. So the starter, the ace for Navy, comes out in the 5th. We'll take a break and resettle things for you. 5-4, Navy in front. Welcome back to a new pitcher here at K-Mine Stadium. That's number 5, Jack Ferguson, a senior lefty, 5'11", 170, out of Atlanta, Georgia. Ferguson with a 5.06 ERA. 5 1/3 innings, 4 strikeouts. He has walked 3. And he's going to come on with the tying run at second base and nobody out as he spells Charlie Connolly. Mangini at second after lifting one to left center field, just past the outstretched arms of Samorian. And Savage will come in. Savage already has a hit on the day, singled back in that second inning. Never made it to second base on the fielder's choice. He was put out at second. He also grounded out to the shortstop in the 3rd inning. So this is Zach's 3rd at bat, 1 for 2 officially. And we'll see how Lafayette wants to play this. They got the tying run. Remember, we're playing 7 innings. So in a lot of ways, this would, if you want to think about it, this would be the bottom of the 7th if we were playing a 9-inning game, of course. And you got that tying run at second base, nobody out. Do they try to move him to 3rd with a little small ball, or do they let Savage kind of swing away? And Savage takes the first pitch strike. That runner at second is Connolly's. The 0-1 fouled away right towards the Lafayette bullpen. And Savage in a hole, no balls, 2 strikes. He has one job, especially as a lefty. He could bounce one to the right side towards the second baseman. He can move that runner. So now he's playing a little bit of defense. Another foul ball. That one up the middle, and that's going to fall for a base hit as Mangini comes to 3rd. No chance to go home on the single as Mangini had to hold up just for a second to make sure that he knew that ball was going to drop. It's kind of behind him a little bit in an awkward spot, but nonetheless, runners at 1st and 3rd now with nobody away. You see, got on that ball a little bit. Mangini had to do basically a 360 before he realized it was going to drop. And you don't want to be that, there's no reason to push it with nobody out. And he never had a shot at going home. So that moves runners to, again, 1st and 3rd as Smith gives some signs to his infield. The tying run 90 feet away, Bo Planeta at the plate. Middle of the infield, double play depth. 3rd baseman on the grass, just on the edge of the grass. We have a lefty up, so I don't expect, or it's going to be hard to see Savage put himself in a bad spot over at first base. His lead, it's not that much of a lead over there at first. That ball just misses for a ball. It's interesting, too, because Ferguson, his windup kind of comes around the bend a little bit. He almost has a motion towards first on his actual windup. Just going to make life a little bit harder for those base runners. That one's fouled away. Counts even 1 ball, 1 strike. Maybe something to the right side, something obviously in the outfield. Get that run home. Tie this ball game up. It's been a tight ball game pretty much from start to finish, but Lafayette has not had the lead yet. They were down 4-0 in the bottom of the second when they scored those 4 runs. Now it's 5-4 as we move back live here in the bottom of the 5th. Check swing. They say went around, and that is out number 1. So a strikeout for Planeta, and the runners stay put. And this brings up an important batter in Seth Ingram. Tried to hold up. They didn't have to look down the first. Smith wanted the appeal down the first, but it was called strike 3 by the home plate umpire. Second strikeout for Planeta. First pitch swinging for Ingram. Ingram was one of those guys that was hit by a pitch in the second inning and scored. A much different pitcher on the mound. Connolly throwing high heat. Connolly throwing in the mid-90s. Ferguson throwing a lot of junk up there right now. A lot of off speed. The balls are coming in a good 10 miles an hour slower than what you saw at Connolly. So Lafayette's going to have to adjust here after seeing the big guy for the first few innings. And they do a nice job there to right field. An RBI single and a tie ball game as Ingram takes a single to the right side, scoring Mangini from third. And in the bottom of the 5th, it's now 5-5. That's a real good piece of hitting. An RBI single for number 5. And this brings up number 26, Blaise Fadio, with the go-ahead run now in scoring position at second base. Mangini scores for the second time today. And also for the second time today, we have a tie ball game. Navy had a 4-0 lead as we moved to the bottom of the second. Lafayette put up 4. That tied it up 4-4. Navy put up 1 run top of the 5th. Lafayette comes back, scores a run in the bottom of the 5th. And they're still in business here. We're even in runs, even in hits, even in errors. It's one of those back and forth games between these two teams. Both teams really looking for a win for different reasons. Lafayette trying to stop a 7-game losing streak in the Patriot League after starting the Patriot League with 3 straight wins against Holy Cross. Navy, the preseason pick in the Patriot League, trying to keep pace towards the top. A bullet over to third base. Right at Keller. Quality at bat, but an out nonetheless. 5 unassisted. That was just a rocket. It was so quick off the bat that Savage really didn't have time to get off second base for a possible double play. So that's out number 2. We move back to the top of the order, and Justin Grech has a chance to be a little bit of a hero here in the 5th. So Navy, as I was mentioning, the preseason pick in the Patriot League, trying to keep pace with Lehigh, trying to keep pace with Army. Those are the 2 teams that are really starting to separate themselves from the pack. And Navy has some games to make up thanks to all those postponements. 4 teams make the playoffs in the Patriot League out of 6. The way things are going right now, you have to think Army looking real good. Lehigh looking real good. I think when everything settles in, Navy's going to be one of those teams in that top 4. And that basically leaves Bucknell, Holy Cross, and Lafayette as they try to jockey position to see who can take that 4th spot. A bouncer up the middle, bobbled by the shortstop. No runs come in, but everybody moves up a base. To wait and see how they score that. All right, they're ruling that as a hit. That was a tough play. It got screened a little bit by the runner. It's second screen by the umpire on a slow roller. So we'll give Grech a hit, his second. This moves Savage to third. Ingram's at second. Grech at first. And Colin Hardy has a chance to bring in a couple runs here. First pitch swing tops one, but foul. Hardy with a bunt single in his third at bat. Officially 1 for 2. He was hit by a pitch also in that second inning. 8 hits for Lafayette right now. But the big news is the go-ahead runs at third. As Hardy falls behind, no balls, 2 strikes. Hardy in a hole, 0-2. Lifts one into left center field, dropping, and it does drop. 1 run comes in. Here comes a second run. A 2-out, 2 RBI single for the 2-hitter in Colin Hardy, and Lafayette now leads this ball game 7-5. With 2 outs, runners going on contact, so it didn't really matter in a lot of ways for the runners at least if that ball was going to drop or not. And as it does, drop right at the feet of Samorian. You had Savage coming in to score, Ingram coming in to score real easily. And now Grech is at second base. Hardy is at first base. And another meeting on the mound. 3 runs in for the Leopards. We've seen this before these last couple games. Lafayette just playing tough ball. They've been unable to get into the win column. But they're really just a batter away, pitch away, a run away from having a couple more wins in that win column, at least in conference, in the Patriot League. And they're doing the same thing here to Navy. After falling 4-0 in the top of the second inning, falling behind 4-0, they've come back to score 7 of the next 8 runs in this game. And Ethan Stern has a chance to open it up even more. 2 outs with a runner in scoring position. Stern officially 1 for 2. He struck out in his last at bat in the 4th inning. He had a single back in the 1st and walked in the 2nd. The count's even, 1 ball, 1 strike. That one fouled straight back. The line on Connolly, by the way, 4 innings pitched, gave up 5 runs, all earned, 5 hits, walked 2, struck out 5. Of course, the big issue for him was those 4 batters he hit in the 2nd inning when he really just lost control of his delivery for 1 inning. That one just misses for a ball. Connolly will get a no decision. He is not the pitcher of record. He was responsible for that first run that came in that tied the game 5-5. Another swing and a miss, and that will do it for Lafayette in the bottom of the 5th. But 3 runs come across as Lafayette takes its first lead of the day, 7-5, as we move to the top of the 6th.